Well, welcome to Dig It, a real estate podcast by Hubble Realty Company. Thank you so much for tuning into a little special episode today. We round down our season 2, but of course we couldn't leave you for that long because we were fortunate enough to bring some of America's home building voices together with the National Association of Homebuilders senior officers, and their leadership team joined us here in the Amplified Des Moines studios. They came here to Iowa to meet, talk advocacy, home building, the market. They even mentioned the T word in this episode that you'll hear about in just a minute. And we're really fortunate to have all of these senior officers share their insights with our Senior Vice President of Iowa Home Building and Land Development, Rachel Flint, who you've seen on the podcast before many a time. So we really hope you enjoy this episode and listen for the end and check out our show notes to see what else is out there and what's coming up in Dig It. Welcome to Dig It, a real estate podcast by Hubble Realty Company.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rachel Flint, Senior Vice President at Hubble Realty Company. And oh my gosh, do I have such the honor today. I don't know that you all have been together, but we have the leadership of the National Association of Home Builders. We have our chairman. I'm going to let you go around and introduce yourselves, but we'll start with you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, my name's Buddy Hughes. I am chairman of the board. I'm from Lexington, North Carolina. A very small builder and developer, and I'm proud to be here.
I'm Bill Owens, the first vice chairman of NAHB. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and spend a lot of time in northern Arizona, too. That's kind of our forever place, and we just got licensed and started up a new entity out there as well, and just happy to be here.
That's great.
Thanks for having us, Rachel. My name is Carl Harris. I'm the most immediate past chairman, sometimes referred to as the most immediate has-been. But I'm a small volume spec and custom home builder in the Wichita, Kansas market.
Very good.
So I'm Gary Campbell. I'm the third vice chair and a multifamily builder owner from Lowell, Massachusetts, and we work in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. And I'm very happy to be here. I can't remember the last time I was in Iowa, so really happy to be here.
And my name is Bob Peterson. I'm second vice chair of NHB this year. I'm a small custom home builder, remodeler from Fort Collins, Colorado.
Now, Bob and I go back a ways. I was behind him on at 20 Clubs. I was the chair following you on 20 Clubs, and so Bob and I've had a
Did you get the mess cleaned up?
There was no mess. There was no mess. All right, well, let's dive right into why you guys are in Des Moines, Iowa. We're excited that you're here, but we have a lot going on. There's 2 separate events that you're in town for, and what brings you here to town?
Well, the invite to join in on Area 10's Leadership Conference. And what the main thing I'm here for is to see Build My Future. I've heard so much about it over years, and everybody says, you got to go, you got to go. And I've been very involved with workforce development I've been coordinating our judging at our Skills USA for 25 years or so, and we have carpentry contests at the state fair. So we've been very involved, but everybody says this has to be seen to believe, and so I'm excited about it.
That's great. So Carl and Bob, you guys have been here. Talk about, and I think, have you?
I haven't, no, but I was
time.
interested because Columbus, Ohio, we just did our first event last fall, and we built a lot off of the original model, Springfield, Missouri, but we heard just great things of what happened here in Des Moines, and particularly just the sheer numbers. So we're very anxious to see what that's all about.
This is my third time here, Rachel,
Yeah.
and I've continued to brag on what the group has done here. As a senior officer of resource for workforce development, trying to replicate this as many places as we can. Our economists tell us that we are 295,000 tradespeople short, and we have got to replace them. That number's not going down. We have got to introduce, educate, and shape the next tradespeople of the future.
Yeah, That's great. So for those of you who are listening out there, Build My Future is an event at the Iowa State Fairgrounds, and it is local area schools from actually across the state. It's not just limited to central Iowa, but we have over 7,000 kids that attend this event, and it's a hands-on learning experience. So you're going to see kids that are able to shimmy up poles like they are, the line workers up for Mid-American up on the wind turbines, or you can do drywall. You can test your skills on whether or not you can do bricklaying. There used to be welding. I don't know if we have welding anymore, but just amazing, and the sheer volume. It has also medical and a variety of other things. So tell me, like, what else is going on across the country that you guys are doing?
Well, I'd like to add that this was my second time at the Build My Future event, and I kind of came in last year with no expectations and was literally blown away. But in my year and a half or so as a senior officer, I've visited many places who have great workforce development programs. None compares to this, though. I will say that. No criticism to anybody else across the country, but there's a lot of them out there that are working really hard at it. I can't agree more with Carl on the need. It's there. We have to replace us old guys, and that's one way we can do it.
Yeah. And I think the thing that's really exciting to see is there are a lot of girls that you're going to see at this event. We just did one in the Quad Cities. It was their first one. They had over 1,200 kids that were there, and it was, I would say, probably 50-50 girls to guys. It was just really incredible to see. So we're really, really proud of the work that we're doing here. Let's talk about the Area 10 Leadership Conference. Explain to everybody what that is, what the goal is, and what's that about?
I'd be happy to take that. Yeah. I've gone to more of them, I think, because leadership is really needed. One of the top pillars of our strategic plan is strengthening the Federation. And we can only strengthen the Federation if we strengthen the leadership at the local level, if we can make our locals stronger, our state officers stronger, if we can equip both EOs and volunteer leadership, then we can have a stronger, more effective Federation.
And an EO is an executive officer, right?
Paid
for people
staff.
Who don't speak
Paid
NHB.
Staff. I should have said that. Sorry about that, Rachel.
But yeah, for the paid staff. Area 11 was one of the first, weren't they, to do a leadership program?
It was, and has been the most consistent. I think they've done them 10 years in a row or something like that. And so other members from Iowa have come to visit those leadership conferences. And as we try to put those together, then it's less distance for people to travel to be equipped. And we're doing emerging leaders. So emerging leaders, we're bringing them into headquarters in D.C. and giving them a taste of how they can be more effective at home.
That's great.
On a personal note, in 1997, I went to an NAHB leadership conference in Savannah, Georgia. And I looking back, I really think that conference was instrumental in me deciding I was going to be in leadership at some point. And shoot, 27 years later, look where I'm at. So
we have that to blame.
Have that to blame. I take all the heat. But
you were an overnight sensation, is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah, 27 years.
Yeah, we just had our first in North Carolina. Well, Area 4. We're North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. And we just had our first this past November or October. And it was a huge hit. And we hope to rotate it. Y'all rotate in 11, don't you? Different state every
states,
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So which states are in your Area 11?
Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, and Oklahoma.
Okay. That's a good group right there.
Yeah.
It was.
Well, Area 10 is the leadership here, and that is Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Minnesota.
Good job.
Very good.
Awesome.
Well, I've sat
Consider running
You've been
for
practicing
office.
I've sat in a lot of Area 10 meetings, the caucus meetings, so I think those are all great, and you guys come around and speak to each of us. And you get a lot of attention and get to really understand all the issues that you guys deal with on a national level. So it's really impressive. You guys do a lot of work. I mean, talk a little bit about that, because Bob, I think talking to you, you're on the road
We all are.
3 days a week at least, or would you
We
say it's
probably
more?
are. Yeah.
Well, it depends. Seems like when we're gone several days, and then I've got a couple weeks where, no, I don't, about a week and a half. I've got about a week and a half coming up without a lot of travel, but we as a team have made a commitment over the last couple of years that we're coming, especially with the transition with Jim stepping in. NAHB in general has made a commitment that we want to be there. We want to come visit. We want to come to your local. We want to come to your state. We want to come to any kind of events, and they took us serious.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think it speaks volumes about what all you're doing and your belief and your giving back to the Federation, because it's so important, because people want to feel engaged. People want to see leadership and show off, kind of, I guess, all of the good things that they're doing locally, because there are so many locals that are just doing remarkable work for our industry.
And I would say, I mean, Zoom is great for some things, but there is no substitute for being in person. And I think one of the things that I heard about, which really rang true with me, was that there are already people who are very engaged with NAHB, which are great. So we always want to see them. But when you're in person, you can really start to talk to people who are maybe less knowledgeable about NAHB, and they have a chance to really kind of get to know you a little bit and to see all the great things that are part of NAHB in a way that you can't do on a Zoom call. So that's why it's so important. We just have to reach everybody, including those who are about to be engaged.
That's right. So let's talk a little bit about some of those other things that you're doing, because I look at NAHB membership. Like, there are enormous benefits to being a part of the National Association of Homebuilders, right? There's discounts. I mean, you actually can do quite well on discounts that you get, like whether it's vehicles or different things like that. But talk a little bit more, if you guys can, just about what are some of the other big drivers of being a member and what the benefits are of that.
I'd start that with education.
Yeah.
You can really, by being involved and getting engaged, you can actually learn how to make your business successful. And you and I met through the 20 Club program, and that's probably the biggest secret we hold, but one of the best educational tools we have. So, and I'm a strong education promoter at NAHB, lots of other ways, but I think NAHB's education can more than pay you back what your dues are.
I think
way more.
You're 100%. I first went to my first Builders show, I think was in Florida in 2005. And it was overwhelming just how large it was in 2005, all of the classes. And our CEO was like, you need to go to this, you need to learn. This is going to be the fastest way for you to learn home building and understand what's going on. And then, so I went through the certified marketing professional classes. I went through the certified sales professional classes, and then getting into the 20 Club. And that's where, oh my gosh, you're drinking from a fire hose on that. So I think lobbying is probably one of the other huge benefits. Can you talk a little bit about that? You just testified on the Hill not too long ago.
Well, yeah, already 3 times this year. And the last year and a half, my job has been advocacy. And there's no question, if you had to rank the benefits by importance, advocacy is, and there are some of our critics, in fact, that think we don't need to do anything except advocacy. That's what we were formed for, to fight those battles. We're under attack, our industry, let's face it, always under attack at the local, the state, and the national level. And we do things pretty good at home with those fights, and our state associations do a very good job. But to fight the national battles you have to come together at this level. There's to fight, to lobby, as you put it, for what's important to us. Because if we didn't do it, nobody else would. I wasn't exaggerating when I said we're under attack all the time from every angle. I mean, environmental, tariffs, you name it. So there's no question. For me, it's the most important thing.
I would agree, and you said the T word.
I was afraid. I knew I was messing up when I
opened that
said
up,
it. I
buddy.
did,
So
I did.
let's talk about tariffs, because I know just from my little seat in Des Moines, Iowa, seeing the work that you guys did to get the Canadian lumber exempt from the tariffs. Tell us about that adventure, because it's not over. I mean, they'll jump back up 34.5%, I think, in September is what it's anticipated.
Well, let's.
You're going to keep fighting, though.
Oh, absolutely. Well, let's make it clear we didn't clear all of that up. We didn't stop all of that.
Right.
The first national meeting that I attended was in Orlando in '94 or '5, and I sat in on Barry Ruttenberg's Building Materials Task Force, and the top of the agenda was the Canadian Softwood Lumber Agreement. And Barry was given that task because if you've been around Barry much, you know how smart he is, and Barry will take care of this. And we're still trying to take care of it. It's an ongoing battle that'll never be resolved, but our lobbying team's efforts in at least holding back Canada and Mexico, because that's the bulk of the tariff area, if you will, for what affects us the most.
Isn't it 61 or 71% of our gypsum comes from Mexico?
I think it's 71. It's a bunch.
It's a bunch. It is a bunch. And so that's going to... So I've been telling realtors and buyers in our market, I said, if you want certainty, buy now and buy what's on the ground, because it doesn't have tariffs on it. And so we as builders here in Iowa, I can tell you, my firm, we are trying to get as many homes in the ground as we can right now, getting those purchase orders out, trying to lock in pricing, and just do the best that we can for our buyers right now, and try to get ahead of it a little bit. But I think the next several years are going to be a little tough.
It's causing a lot of our members, and I did the same thing, it's causing us to spend a lot of money that we didn't really have to right now, but just to try to avoid that. Steve Martinez has made a point of how much he's spent on materials and things ahead of time, and I just bought some scaffolding out of Canada. And you're going to see a lot more of that, I think, because uncertainty is the word. You hit the nail on the head.
Right, but on a production builder, like buying that ahead of time certainly helps. But man, you got to manage that inventory then, and that is a nightmare in and of itself. I remember, there was a time, back in the early days, we had bought, from granite. Okay, you buy a whole pallet thing of granite, a shipping container of granite. Well, let me just tell you, black granite goes out of style pretty quick. Like it seemed like a good idea at the time, but you got to burn through that pretty fast in order to make the most of it. So what other things are you seeing or thinking that in terms of the tariff land or lobbying efforts that you're working on right now?
One of our most recent victories, we were informed by Ken Wingert, our chief advocacy staff person, that we succeeded in upsetting the Biden administration's gas ban.
Natural gas.
Natural gas ban. So that's saying that,
program.
like, I can't have a natural gas stove.
Or water heater or
Right.
anything. That is gone for now.
That's good.
Unfortunately, individual states can still do it, and again, those battles that we have to fight. That's just a perfect example right there. What the state of Washington has gone through. I think New York State has had some battles with it, and we haven't heard the last of that either.
No.
If I may, the NAHB has state and local government affairs, federal government affairs, legal affairs, and when we talk about the states being fairly successful or locals, they have issues. Okay, I'm from Colorado. It's not a very friendly state when it comes to building, so we have lots of issues. But those committees at NAHB which you oversee those this year, I believe, don't you? Vice Chair.
Affairs,
Yeah.
Advocacy.
But
Yep.
but there's funding there available. If locals or states apply for it, we will help locals or states fight their battles. Not in a massively big way all the time, but every little bit helps because they do need help in a lot of areas.
Gary, what are you seeing on the multifamily side? You're a multifamily builder, and what are you seeing right now?
Well, I mean, first of all, I want to emphasize kind of a lot what folks are saying here, which is NHB's advocacy staff has incredible access and garners incredible respect on both sides of the aisle. And I've seen it over and over again over the years, whether it's HUD, whether it's housing finance, whether it's EPA or what have you. They'll always listen to us. I think that's a very important thing to say. And I would say for multifamily, it's really, a lot of it is around the regulatory front, and we're seeing some great progress. I mean, they mentioned the taking away the ban on natural gas heaters, even some of the energy code issues and things like that. Just make it so expensive to build. It's hard enough to build multifamily anyway. It's very hard to make it work with considering construction costs have gone up, interest rates have gone up. It's not so easy. So I look at it as a regulatory thing more than anything, and just trying to emphasize, how hard we fight on behalf of everyone in our association on all these issues. I mean, as I say, I'm from Massachusetts, which is 100% Democratic congressional delegation, and when I talked to them, I had a conversation with Richie Neal, who's the ranking member on Ways and Means. He went out of his way to say how much he respects NHB and how much he appreciates our input. So it's really happening in all different parts of the government, which is really important.
That's great. Bill, how about you?
I think something that I experienced last week, which is really important and resonated with me because I was there seeing our codes team in action. And some of what we're trying to do to affect through the international residential code to protect the cost of housing. Every code has a cost consequence to it. It could be neutral. It could be cost more. Rarely does it cost less. And I think what we try to do is advocate. There were 600 or 700 codes and our codes committee broke off into two groups, and they created a scoring system that how hard basically we wanted to fight it, how impassioned we needed to be to come up against these some 300 proposed code changes. Buddy visited those groups, I did too, but I said, we needed to videotape this and we needed to get that out to show the individual members and the local associations. I mean, if that's $198 of value, it's over $400 of value. I think we listed $412 not too many years ago. That's the stuff that people just don't get that we do from a federal advocacy point of view, and this being in the regulatory sector. If we didn't do that, I can't even imagine what the cost of housing would be at this point. And that's the where the wires get crossed. And we need to figure a way to show what not only the staff does, which they do an incredible job, but there's not anything that's done at the staff level without us creating policy around asking staff to do that. And the only way policy gets created is from member input. And so it is, it's a give and take, and we need it from the grassroots up, and then we go and we deliver from the Fed, our position at the national on down.
That's great. How about you, Carl?
Market-based housing solutions. That's what we want. We don't want the government to tell us what to build, how to build, but to give us the environment in which we can build. We've tried to shift from affordable housing to a new word, attainable housing. We want people to own their own homes, to stabilize families, stabilize neighborhoods, stabilize communities. Our members are out there building 85% of the market-based housing solutions in America, and we're trying to help them do that. And with the leadership conference that's going on here in Des Moines over the next couple of days, we're going to try to empower, teach, and work with members about how they can be more effective both at the local level and at the state level, because we're all in this together.
We are, and I think that's the one thing I've tried to get across. I'm currently the state president for Iowa HBA, and I've been just trying to get that message across that we are so much more powerful when we are together. That voice, when it's unified, it has impacts, and we can make a difference. It's not a lost cause. It's something that can happen, and you can see that. You can see what we're able to do through the skilled trades. I'm really excited because next, right after this, we're going to go tour Central Campus. And Central Campus, that was actually started, that group was started back in 2015, almost 2016. I think Gary Scrutchfield, who's my roofing supplier, roofing materials supplier, he was a huge advocate for skilled trades. And he was like, Rachel, we need trades. And so he and I met with the head of Central Campus, which is kind of the area school for Des Moines Public Schools. And we met with him, and I'll never forget, Gary and I sat there, and he's like, oh, well, we need this, we need a teacher, whatever. And we're like, okay, what else do you need? What do you mean? I said, well, what do you want? Like, we'll go figure it out. Gary and I raised $2 million that year to help get that started. And now I think there's over 300 kids, if I'm not mistaken, 400 kids that graduate that program every year. So, but that wasn't just Gary. I mean, we went to the trades and we said, you all need workers. Help us. If you will help put in money and for a 2-3 year period so that we can get teachers on board, we can get this program. HBI, yeah, we utilize some of that curriculum. So that has been a passion project of ours in Des Moines for quite a while, and one that we're extremely, extremely proud of. So I'm so excited you guys are going to get to see it and tour it.
We are too.
Because they're just doing amazing things. And Central Campus isn't alone. There's Waukee has a school, Urbandale, West Des Moines. So across, everybody understands, I think in Central Iowa, the importance of getting into the trades. It's not just about everybody has to go to college. That's not. My own nephews are trying to get into the programs, and so it's very exciting. I'm just so honored you all are here and can do this, because it does mean a lot to our membership. It means so much to all of our home builders and associate members out there who work so hard and fight, and to see you all here and to be able to show that off for each of them, and their hard work is really important. So I just want to say thank you for being here. Any final words? We can kind of go around if you guys want to wrap it up.
I just a sincere thank you, because I'm soaking it up. I'm a sponge here. I want to see, because it sounds like you do things better than we do at home, and I'm anxious to learn something.
I don't know. I could listen to your North Carolina accent all day. I
don't have
Everybody else does, right?
Just get him to say Piper no. That's great. Anybody else want to
I think Carl touched on, something that I read when I first got involved and thought about running. I tried to sort of articulate how important the relationship is with NAHB and down into the individual local associations and the grassroots member. And something I feel strongly about, and I say quite often, is there is no NAHB without members, and there is no NAHB without local associations. We're not this ivory tower anymore, I don't think, and we're walking the walk and talking the talk, but we also realize how important that relationship is, and that it all starts, it's highly transactional every year, whether somebody's going to write that check to stay a member of NAHB. And what we're trying to do right now is to really, through our strategic plan, is to really show that value proposition at not only the local level, where it really resonates with the local members, but also up through the state associations, and then eventually to NAHB. And that's what we're all here living and breathing it here the next couple of days. And it gets us jazzed as much as it might get you all jazzed too. So it's kind of fun to work it both ways.
It's just always so amazing to me. I mean, having done my campaign last year and having been around for a long time, is to see exactly what you talk about, it being a passion project. Just the passion that people, and I see it all over the country and certainly see it here. It's just an amazing event, and I've heard so much about it for so many years. I'm really, really excited to see it. But just that passion, and you can feel the passion. That's what I think energizes. I won't speak for anybody else, but it energizes energizes all of us. When we do this travel, it's like an energy injection because people are just so excited about what they're doing. And in the case of workforce development, we're transforming these young people's lives. We're giving them a life. We're giving them a
Without
life.
a lot of debt, by the way.
Without a lot of debt, right?
Exactly.
Right. You're not graduating with $150,000 in college debt and working as a barista at Starbucks. You're actually in a trade that's going to be a lifelong commitment, and you
can make really good
really
money.
good
I'm always
Right.
amazed. Like all our
Right.
trades have like boats,
Well, I always say to
big
people,
house, second homes. And I'm like,
Who's going to
wow.
the Caribbean in the winter? You or a plumber?
Right, my plumber is, I promise.
I would just close kind of echoing the whole thing, but the message that I try to deliver everywhere I go, and a couple of years ago when I was on the campaign trail for senior office, we're in this together, and I've learned that even more so in my first year and a half as a senior officer, is everywhere I go, I don't care what state it is, how big the local is, we all have the same issues. And it's just on a little different scale. And just in letting people know that Yakima, Washington's got the same issues that Des Moines, Iowa has, I think brings people together and realizes that the power we are as a 145,000 member association that needs to be bigger.
Yeah, and in closing, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to Des Moines. Thank you to Dan. When I heard that all the senior officers were coming up to build my future, I said, Dan, can we get a tour of the high school? I really enjoyed that because it's one thing to emphasize construction professionals one day a year. It's another to have a facility where it can be expressed and held up every day. When I talk to young people and I say, this is another plan A, don't let anybody tell you this is a great fallback position, plan B, because there are parents out there with 20-somethings living in their home with $80,000 in debt and no employable skills. This is an excellent plan A. And I hope that a lot of young people will get introduced to it, get encouraged by it tomorrow, and decide to be part of the Central Campus. So thanks for having us, Rachel.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Did you want to do your wackadoodle question?
Wackadoodle?
She's got it.
Because you're on a schedule today, but
You are.
generally we make people end on a off the rails question, which is just
darn.
a randomly generated question, but we'll have to catch you the next time.
We'll do it at dinner tonight.
There you
Wow.
go. I'll send Rachel one for
I'm
dinner.
disappointed.
That was a lot of topics in a little time, but we're really thankful for the National Association of Homebuilders Senior Officers for taking the time out of their very busy schedule here in Iowa to join us here on the podcast at Dig It. And so other things you're going to see in our show notes before you go: Des Moines Public School Central Campus, their Skilled Trades Academy and Alliance. You need to know more about it. It is a great opportunity for young students to get their hands on experience in carpentry, electrical, HVAC, plumbing, welding, you name it. We have a lot of information, and there's ways to partner if you're a business owner out there and really wanting to drive home that skilled trades are a viable option, option A, as you heard at the end of the podcast. So those are in our show notes. And NAHB has a podcast too. It's Housing Developments. We will link to that in our show notes. They just released a episode that's could the 90-day tariff pause save the spring home buying season? Worth a listen. It's also a great place to get policy updates and just more information about home building in general across the nation. So that's at their website, nahb.org. Obviously, support local here at our HBA and with our home builders who are building houses throughout central Iowa. And of course, as we look ahead to Dig It Season 3, we're really hoping that you're going to join us as we line up more great voices for you to hear from all across Iowa, probably beyond our state lines as well. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in to Dig It, a real estate podcast produced by me, Claire Bramer. Audio editing and uploads by the ever-talented Amplified Des Moines team, and brought to you by Hubble Realty Company. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and share this podcast with anyone who loves real estate just as much as we do by listening and sharing wherever you get your podcasts and watching on YouTube at Dig It. Have questions or topics you'd like us to dig into? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you.